So you guys don't look for like a one-off, one lot type of land. You actually look for large tracts of land and subdivide them or
That's
plat them, right?
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. And that's where we feel good. That's where our business model lies. That does a couple of things for us. When we sell that land, let's imagine 100 acres, and we split it up into either 5-acre tracts or 10-acre tracts. And we have all of these laid out. Once we sell a couple of these, a few of these, we've really established some comps for that area. And then
Yeah.
as we sell this entire subdivision, if you
Yeah.
will, we feel very good about the value that has been established. Now, let's say we've sold this area out. And why do we care about value? Well, it affects the collateral of the position of our lien position that we have. And so
Right.
that only really comes into play when things go south. And if there is a foreclosure or if there is some default that you have to address, then we know that if we take back that property, well, we just sold the 10 properties on one side of it and the 5 properties on the other side of it. We've got photos of it all, and we know the exact value or the comps of it. So if this happens 18 months later or 2 years later, we feel very confident we can take back that single piece of property and we can sell it at or above what we sold all the other ones at 2 years later. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what are you guys, give me, if you can share this, what's the return on your investment, should we say, from that original price per square foot to the time you sell average? Are you looking for a certain return? Does it have to meet some number before you want to take it down? And this is the deal, because you guys go into a place where there's no comps. You have to decide, right? You have to put in the vision of what this is going to be.
Yeah, and V, you probably already know this, but there's a whole team set in place too, working on that with the other investor and the broker and all of that. So been a process that's been worked out since. Now we focused on residential, but then land started back in 2016 is when the other investor started on the land side. But yes, I think over the years it's kind of shifted and changed, and numbers have shifted and changed because you're learning what not to do. And
let me see if I can answer your question more specifically. Obviously, we're going to make more on one property than we do on another. There's a little bit of variance. Just like she mentioned, there's a team here. There's cost of money for us to go in and borrow funds on the front end of the property to take it all down. And depending on how long we hold it, that affects some things, right? But I would say on average, we'd feel good if we got in and out and made 30% on that over a time period of 18 months on that particular project. If we could make 30%, I think that would be good on the acquisition side of things, right?
Okay, yeah, you did answer my questions, because let's say I'm getting into a flip, right? I do plan to profit by the time all expenses are paid, all the dust settle, 20 to on the north of 20% profit. Because otherwise, it's not, it's too much work, too much risk to get involved. And that's also leave room for if we buy it wrong,
That's right.
Sure.
So I would imagine with what you guys do that you would also have some kind of like number and say, well, I'm not getting in unless I think I can get this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the goal is 30%. We don't always hit that, but that makes us feel real good.
Okay, so let's talk about who you're selling it to, because I know some other land developer, they choose to sell to builders versus individual. I think I know the answer, but why do you choose to sell to individual instead of builders?
I was going to say that I think that's just more of the business model that's been put in place, selling to individuals. Now, there is a property we're working on right now that we are looking to sell to developers. or home builder as well. So we're just right now in negotiations of that. But that's going to be very different play instead of what we're talking about on the note side. So these particular ones, as we're selling to individuals, it's just going to be the business model, because then the whole goal is we're selling to individuals to get them into that property where we've created that note. Well, then we can go and turn around and sell that note to another investor looking to get those double-digit returns. Selling to a developer, totally get that. That's something that we're in the works working on right now with a particular property. But that's a whole different ballgame. There's one property we're looking at right now too, where the front part of it, about 15 acres, would be sold to a commercial developer. Well, then the back end of it's going to be sold to a residential builder as well. But these are specifically chopped up for individuals that just want, again, their own like little slice of heaven ranchettes as well. And I'd say 85% of them ish are owner financing that a note's being created on.
Okay, I just thought of this question. So you guys actually don't build them, and since you don't sell to builders with individual owner, I assume there's no HOAs then. So
Correct.
Whoever buys it, they do whatever they want to do with it.
Yep.
Right.
Most of these are unrestricted properties. Once again, most of these are 30 minutes or so outside of town.
Yeah.
Before we got to it was a hayfield, if you will.
Yeah.
Where somebody can build out away from town. So
Oh.
those, once again, we're not opposed to selling to developers, but that's going to be a different piece of property. Developers aren't buying where we're at, and of course, they're also not going to buy with owner financing. So it would be a completely different transaction.
Right, because they most of them probably have like a set process. They're more cookie cutters type
Absolutely.
business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they want all the entitlement done and everything of that nature, and they're going to want water, sewer, electric, all right there. Just a different business model, and once again, we are involved in some of that, but in some different projects.
This episode is brought to you by Jet Lending. For over 20 years, Jet Lending has been helping real estate investors succeed. They offer 100% financing so you can be in at $0 at closing. I can always count on Jet Lending to fund my deals. If you're looking to fund your next deal, contact our friend over at jetlending.com.